all, welcome everybody. I'm so pleased, so proud, happy that this day has come. We've been looking forward to it very much indeed, the team in Washington, D.C. I know we blitzed you with a lot of emails over the last couple of weeks about this, and we are delighted that we have the opportunity to recognize the accomplishments of all six of you who have accomplished their goal of earning your Stage 2 Young Ambassadors for Peace certificate. You received from me last night an email with a facsimile of your certificate. I want you to make sure that you share your current home address, wherever that may be, with Kim, and we will be mailing out some the original of your certificate and some other very nice material for you following this program. And we have guests on this from all over the world at the moment who are interested in this program, interested in what our future is in this program. And I want to take you back to the beginning. The idea for this program really came out of reading a speech made by the UN Secretary General in September of 2018 at the University of Geneva. He made an appeal to all associated with the UN and involved with peace building worldwide to look at ways in which we could engage young people, and they identified youth as between 20 and 30 years of age. So now I've blown your cover, you're all under 30. And the important thing that has happened as a result of that was, of course, something all of you participated in with considerable enthusiasm for 5 days in Washington, D.C. And that was the inaugural International Youth Peace Forum conference for Young Ambassadors for Peace that was hosted here at the National Press Club and finished at the UN Foundation in a memorable gathering where you received your certificates. Since then, you've gone back to your own communities, and each of you have taken part in the second educational phase of this program. That is, you took the knowledge that you learned from the conference in Washington, D.C., and you implemented a program back in your home communities, your own country, your own university, and you overcame enormous obstacles in terms of the complications with the C-19 pandemic virus and other logistical problems in the beginning of an embryonic organization that's now 2/3 of the way through a 2.5-year pilot program. Out of the 17 people who received their certificates on August 16th at the UN Foundation, 6 have successfully completed Stage 2. We had originally 12 who signed up for the program, but due both to the virus, some having lack of equipment and lack of flexibility in terms of their other responsibilities, regretfully were unable to complete their program. We hope that they'll come back as we get back into Stage 2 when we relaunch the program and complete that program that they began. But you are the Magnificent Six. And if I include Kim in that, you are the Magnificent Seven. And so I am very honored to have 2 key people here today that you're going to hear from. And before I get into introducing the first of those, my friend and colleague and mentor, Richard Kamenitzer, the chairman of the Board of Trustees, I want to tell you this is a very special day because in 1903, the Wright brothers made their first flight. And today, we're making our second flight in terms of taking this project on to its third stage and final phase of the pilot program. I am indebted to the mentors, the 6 people who stepped forward in this program friends of mine, friends of Kim's, friends of Bill and Richard's, who volunteered, along with the other 6 mentors, to look at a journey with you in terms of conflict prevention and resolution and peace building being implemented in a reasonable way to make sure that you took that knowledge and turned it into power by multiplying the message with your peers and with your mentors and with other young people in your communities. Each of you are going to talk about your projects, and you're going to also have the opportunity for your mentors to talk about you and their experience. But this is a graduation ceremony. This is a celebration, as Bill and Richard mentioned, of your accomplishment. We regret that we can't do it in person with you. We wanted to do that very much indeed, but we'll make up that in the future. So without any more ado, I would like to talk with you about how we are going to move now to our chairman's comments on this program and introduce Professor Richard Kamenetzer, a distinguished global educator, lectured all over the world, committed to peace building. You may remember that he made the final speech at the inaugural conference closing ceremony at the UN Foundation. So Richard, over to you. And we are honored that you could be with us today. Thank you so much. And thank you for your leadership commitment to this Young Ambassadors for Peace project.
Thank you, Tony. Thanks, Phil and Kim, for joining us and being with us through this journey. It's really important, and I want to emphasize not only congratulations to the 6 of you that have been able to move through at least our 2nd phase, and will be entering the 3rd phase, but to reiterate some things. Just recently, the United Nations had 2 other resolutions, 2250 and 2419. After listening to much of that, I heard words that were very encouraging, but unfortunately, it was more requested and ideas and proposals that really do not, in and of themselves, create a pathway. And so I want to be very careful, okay, in not having you get discouraged. One of the things about growing older is that we see things down the road. We need you to continue to see things as they are and as they can be. Hope is a critical dimension of building the kind of ambassadorship that was envisioned when this organization was created. I made a comment at the graduation, the initial phase that we had, and I talked about what peace consists of. 4 important values: truth, justice, liberty, and love. All 4 of those are essential, and ambassadors of each and every one of them, and collectively, are critically needed in this world. And we look to you and to what you have begun. We need to take this model and expand it to its ultimate capacity if we are to achieve what each of us really truly wants, and that is a world filled with international peace, understanding and respecting one another. Irrespective of any other dimension that may divide us, we need to be able to look at what unites us. And that's how we will build. We will build this together. So your success actually is going to create the platform for future generations. It is really important. You are pioneers, you are pilgrims, many ways of looking at the things that you're doing, and you've done so well. We are so proud of this. In fact, we are even surprised that we were able to achieve at the level we have achieved thus far. And we look forward to what's going to happen in the weeks and months ahead. But the job has just begun. It's still a difficult task. We have much to prove. I see that in the comments made by the various speakers at the hearing that was held uh, at the United Nations, It says that young people need to be seen as citizens and not subjects, not somebody who needs to be catered to, but needs to be engaged and needs to feel and be responsible. We believe that this program is exactly that. We take responsibility to the highest level and we call you ambassadors. That is our goal. You will take this to other people, to other countries, other organizations, and to one another. So, encouragement, you have it. The board is committed to helping and supporting what will be essentially the fulfillment of a mission that we believe will make this a better world. I don't want to use up the time that you will have available to share with us the accomplishments, but I want to thank you again as an individual board member on behalf of the board and collectively. You are giving us a future the world desperately needs. So thank you very much. Tony, I return the floor to you.
Thank you so much, Richard, and thank you for your eloquent words and for your leadership commitment to this program. Without Richard, this program would not have become reality. So we're about now to turn this over to the dynamic, inimitable Kim Weichel. Kim, as you know, was the person who has worked with us closely, both through the conference when she was the chairman of the United Nations Association here in Washington, DC. She is a globally known peace builder. She's an author. She's an activist. She's a futurist. She's a thought leader in this space. And she is like a mother hen as far as the six of you are concerned. I don't have a chance to not honor an obligation that we've made to you, because Kim has really become my alter ego and my partner in moving this forward along with the network that she has established. She was the person who had the foresight to understand a thought that we had, that you would benefit from having mentors. Kim really is the architect behind the mentorship program of the Young Ambassadors for Peace initiative. And she's done a phenomenal job, and we have collaborated on working together for the last 2 years. And her patient husband, Carl, is also on the line here. And Carl, I'm sorry that she got you out of bed so early this morning, but that's what happens when you work at home. And but Kim, I want to thank you as someone who has spread the gospel through being an author, a Rotary Fellow, a person who is held in high esteem in the UN network, is known worldwide as a lecturer and speaker on the topics that we're addressing. And I want very much indeed, and I'm looking forward to you handling this next core important part of this program. And that is the introduction of each of the young Stage 2 certificate holders and their mentors. So I'm going to turn it over to you now, Kim, and thank you again for what you've done in terms of your leadership commitment to this program.
Well, thank you, Tony, very much. And I want to extend a warm welcome to everyone. This is such a special graduation ceremony. I'm so glad you're part of it. So I firstly, of course, want to honor and thank Tony Cully Foster, who's the visionary and driving force behind this whole program. He has been so committed to implementing that vision that he shared from the UN Secretary General. And I just want to say, as somebody who has worked with UN agencies and with UN associations, to me, there's almost nothing more important that we can do than to train the next generation in peace building skills. If we want to have peace in our future, this is exactly what we need to be doing. So it's been an honor to work with Tony, who's such a big heart. I've really enjoyed working with you, Tony. It's been a terrific project, something I believe in very much. So I want to congratulate each of the 6 graduates. What an accomplishment. It's been a joy to watch your journey since I met you a year and a half ago, watching your growth, starting in the 5-day peace building symposium that Tony mentioned. It was like a 6-month course collapsed into 5 days on a wide range of peace building skills. I drew on a number of amazing leaders we have in the Washington, DC area to speak during that conference, some of whom are mentors. So the graduates learned a range of peace building skills, and then they were tasked with coming up with a specific peace building project from what they learned in their home communities. Now, it's one thing to come up with an idea, it's quite another to be able to implement it. So Tony and I worked with each of the graduates very closely over months to help them define and to keep narrowing their projects. Some of them started out quite broad, and we wanted to really help them make sure it was doable and implementable. So we did that along with the mentors. And then the students developed their projects in more detail. Each was an in-person project. Just as they were ready to launch their project, the pandemic hit. Each had to transform their project from an in-person to an online platform. And I want you to know that this took a lot of work and creativity. I have observed in every one of them, creativity, adaptability, flexibility, and a deep commitment and enthusiasm to doing this no matter what. And so it's been a really remarkable achievement given all of the odds, and there have been many. And so again, I really admire each of you for your motivation and drive to be able to complete these very important local peace building projects. I also want to thank the mentors. The mentors are all volunteers. They worked one-on-one with their student, coaching, advising, mentoring, supporting in so many different ways. And as Tony said, we've realized that the mentoring is such an important component of this project because a lot of people, young people don't really know how to take an idea and put it into action. And it involves many, many things as well as overcoming challenges. So mentors, thank you very much. I appreciate it. So now it is my great pleasure to introduce each student one at a time. Each student will speak for about 3 minutes. Then I will introduce their mentor, who will speak for a minute or two about their experiences working with this mentee. And then later in the program, we'll have time for questions. So please hold your questions until the end. So we're going to go alphabetically, students, just so you know. We're going to start with Sarah Aver, who is a Swiss-French citizen. She studied at Johns Hopkins University, and her project, one of my very favorite topics, is women's essential role in peace building. So Sarah, welcome. Over to you. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Kim, for your kind introduction. I'm very happy to be here with you to celebrate everyone's achievements. To briefly describe my project, I wanted to focus on women, and particularly in the role of women in conflict prevention, resolution, and peace building. So my project goal was to both raise awareness of the central role that women play before, during, and after conflict, and also to increase the participation of youth in this debate. I framed this work around 2 main UN Sustainable Development Goals, SDG number 5, gender equality, and SDG number 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. At the time, I was located in Washington, DC, and I mostly work within my university, Johns Hopkins SAIS. My project was built around 2 main activities. The first one, the publication of a series of academic articles focusing on women in conflict. And in addition to this, the organization of a public event on the same topic to stimulate a discussion and engage with community leaders and young professionals. So after 9 months of work, a pandemic, a graduation, and a new job that I got in Europe, we were able to publish articles, including one on the role of women in resolving conflict over natural resources, and the role of women in peacemaking, with a particular focus in the case of Northern Ireland. We also organized a high-level discussion with more than 70 attendees from all over the world, and with 2 incredible speakers that we had the chance to have with us. Uzra Zeya, who is the CEO and the president of the Alliance for Peace Building, and Caitlin Keenest, who is the director of gender policy and strategy at the US Institute of Peace. Obviously, all of this was made possible thanks to the support and advice of Cheyenne, who is my advisor and for which I'm incredibly grateful. I think she really allowed me to navigate this challenging time and help me think outside of the box to really create new opportunities. So during all that time, I've learned, I guess, two main lessons that I would like to share with you. The first one is the importance of adapting to changes. I guess that's something we all had to learn this year, but also to see changes as opportunities. And in my case, that was about shifting to an online platform, but it also allows us to reach a greater number of people and having people from all over the world, and thus influencing and having a greater impact. And the second lesson is how much work still remains to create a bigger space for women in conflict prevention, resolution, and peace building, and how important it is to involve even more youth in this debate. Again, I'm very grateful for the confidence that the International Youth Peace Forum has placed in me, for my mentor, for Tony, Kim, and Serena, and last but not least, certainly for the people I've met and all my other friends from the cohort. Kim, back to you.
Thank you, Sarah. That was beautiful, and congratulations again. I'd like to introduce Sarah's mentor, Cheyenne Boyce. I'm just going to share one paragraph on each mentor so you see the extraordinary backgrounds and commitment from each of these mentors. Cheyenne Boyce is an education advocate and program manager focusing on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Currently, she serves as a strategic partnerships manager for the Education Partner Program at HubSpot, where she supports professors and students at HBCUs, community colleges, and other minority serving institutions. Previously, Cheyenne served as the Director of Program Development at the Confucius Institute U.S. Center to foster mutual understanding between the U.S. and China. Cheyenne is passionate about cross-cultural understanding and creating access to educational opportunities that have the power to shift perspective and change how we see the world around us. So welcome, Cheyenne.
Thank you so much, Kim, and hi, everybody. I have to say, this is a reunion I didn't even know I needed. So Sarah, Shannon, Aki, everybody who had the amazing privilege to work with last year on this program, it's so good to see you guys. I'm so happy that everybody's doing well and that you've made it here because as we all know, there was a lot, that went into getting this program off the ground. There was a lot that you all had to do. There was a lot of trust that you all put in Tony and Kim and me and everyone who was working on the program last year. So it's so good to see you guys. And yeah, I'm super proud of all of you. But yes, I like I said, I'm very excited, and it was such a pleasure working with Sarah. I could not have imagined a better project for she and I to work on together. And I also couldn't imagine a better person to work on it with. For me, it was an awesome development opportunity for me personally, because I had been working in program management, doing these things for so long. And it was interesting to sort of look and see, well, what does that look like in a mentoring role? Like, how can I help Sarah, be the best that she can be in this experience? And so I think that her project was amazing. I think the event was amazing. I was so proud. I had all of my friends watching too. I said, Sarah's doing this event and it's going to be great. So we were all on Zoom at my house watching it. And I also just have to say, the word of 2020, of course, is like pandemic, all of these things that we've been thinking about. But I also think the word pivot is, very applicable in this situation. Sarah sort of went from having the support and the backing of her university to all of a sudden not being at the university, not being in the United States, having to be in Europe, and starting a new job, and all of these different things were sort of happening at one time. But, Sarah, I think that you did a great job just remaining focused on the goal and making sure that you stuck to your research, you stuck to what you thought was important, and you were able to pull off a great event and a great project. So I am so excited to celebrate this with you, as well as with everyone else who was a part of the program. You guys are amazing. And obviously, as Kim just said, I'm not at the Confucius Institute anymore. And so this was one of the last, really big projects that I worked on while I was there. And of course, I'm so happy that you all were a part of that experience with me. So thank you all, and congratulations, Sarah, and all of the students.
Thanks, Cheyenne. I appreciate it. So the next student is Shannon Bennett from South Africa, who graduated from the University of Johannesburg. Shannon's project is called Seeing Greener. It's about raising awareness about environmental issues in South Africa. So Shannon, congratulations and welcome.
Hello, so I'm Shannon, and my project was based on climate change and South Africa's adaptation to the changes that come with climate change. And in order for South Africa to adapt effectively to the changes that climate change introduces, like resource availability changes, employment level differences, changes in economic activity, and even skills development, I thought it was important for South African youth to be educated on climate change and its impact in South Africa. Seeing Greener had a main goal of driving peace building and community cooperation through education and improving access to information and empowering youth-propelled climate action. In order to reach these goals, I did many activities. I started a blog, and the blog focused on current affairs and events within the context of their impact on South African environment. I also worked with a climate education organization called Climate Science, where I started an online class which shared climate education material with South African students. I currently work at an alternative education institution called Mitra Academy, where I was able to set up climate science as a subject for their online school. And next year, I'll be introducing gardening as an activity for the children there to teach them environmentally friendly methods for gardening. Working on Seeing Greener has helped me understand the importance of peace building in a more relatable context. I was able to gain better understanding of the impacts of climate change in South Africa, while also having a chance to share information and even possible solutions. I was able to interact with many other people who are dedicated to improving environmental health and protection in South Africa. This helped me understand the importance of community when trying to solve social issues. I was also able to see the impact of my posts on individual lives from people who contacted me and let me know that the posts helped them reevaluate their relationships with the environment and to become more environmentally aware. I'd like to thank my mentor, Joanne Husky, because I don't think I would have been able to get this far or even shift my project to an online platform without her. Seeing Greener was a small project, but it was so impactful and meaningful. And I look forward to all the things it could achieve in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon, and again, congratulations. So I'd like to introduce my good friend, Joanne Husky. Joanne Grady Husky is co-founder of Global Adjustments, Inc., a relocation company in India, and of I Live to Lead, Young Women's International Leadership Program. She has worked with young women leaders on 5 continents. She was for many years International Director of VSA Arts at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C., where she directed programs to over 80 nations that open the arts to people with disabilities. Her books include The Unofficial Diplomat, Make It in India, and I Can, A Young Woman's Guide to Taking the Lead, published in 2018. She has lived and worked as a cross-cultural trainer and international educator in China, India, Kenya, Taiwan, and Nicaragua. So welcome, Joanne.
Thank you, Kim. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
So I'm using my cell phone because of some crazy glitches this morning, but I'm so happy to be able to see Shannon and see all of you and to be able to communicate with you. Shannon and I had kind of an interesting ride because we started out with the idea of educating people through the schools. And Shannon and I talked a lot of time about how to open up the schools, how to communicate with the heads of the schools to get an opportunity to speak to the students. And it was a lot about the presentation on the phone and then going in and the presentation in the schools. And then, as you know, all of you know, COVID-19 shut it down. And so she couldn't go into the schools. I think she got to go into 1 or 2, right, Shannon? And then that was that. So then we really shifted onto the whole idea of social media and how to use it. And luckily it coincided with the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. And I put Shannon in touch with them. They actually had her kind of help them and use their media to educate people about climate change during their 50th anniversary. So that worked out kind of nicely for Shannon, I think, in terms of getting some media material she could use on her blog and on her social media. So it became a new mentoring process of talking about how to use social media well, how to reach people, how to build your social media audience, how to build, followers of your blog. And I think she's still in that process, right, Shannon? But I think it was a very, it was an interesting shift in some ways that we've all had to make, right? Because of COVID, all of a sudden now everything's virtual, and it may continue to be virtual. But I want to say that Shannon's always been so receptive to everything we've talked about, quick to respond, very efficient. And I think you have picked out a topic, Shannon, that is of utmost importance to South Africa. As we all know, it's going to be a major problem, both lack of water and everything else. And so the issue of keeping peacefulness in that country when there aren't the resources to make people feel comfortable or safe or even survive, it's really a very, very relevant project for this work with the UN, with IYPF. And I thank you all for letting me be part of it. Thank you, Kim, for inviting me. It was an interesting process. And I hope you heard me well enough on this. I'm kind of on a makeshift here with a cell phone, talking to the cell phone and looking at you on my computer.
Yeah.
But anyway.
We heard you well, Joanne. Thank you very much again for being a mentor. So our third student is Amanda Haidar from Ireland, who studied at the Trinity University in Dublin. Amanda's project is building pathways to peace in Northern Ireland. Very important project. Welcome, Amanda.
Hello, everyone. It's so lovely to be here with you all today, albeit virtually. My name's Amanda, and last year I graduated from Trinity College in Dublin with a master's degree in international peace studies. However, I am not in Ireland at the moment. I'm actually in Beirut, Lebanon. I'm Lebanese Canadian, and I had the honor of representing Ireland in this amazing program. My project was called Pathways to Peace, Northern Ireland, and initially it was supposed to be in person. It was supposed to be a conference taking place at Trinity College, but then COVID happened and things didn't exactly go according to plan, but that didn't stop us. We converted the project into an online webinar, and it was graciously moderated by Tony, and we had panelists that consisted of various politicians and academics. In addition to the webinar, I wrote a handbook called the Peace Builders Handbook for youth in Northern Ireland who are interested in building peace in their communities, because a lot of the times as youth, we have this energy and we have these ideas and we want to create change in our societies, but we don't exactly know how. So that's all like laid out in this handbook, and it's specific to Northern Ireland. It was a lot of fun. What I learned primarily through the project is this: communication is the backbone of peace. A lot of the times we think about sustainable development and we forget that to have sustainable development, you need peace first. You cannot have sustainable development with conflict raging on in your country. And to have peace, you need effective communication. Effective communication is the backbone of peace. And with societies like Northern Ireland, one might think that peace already exists there. It's an economically developed country. But the thing is, peace is not just the absence of violence. You also need social harmony as well. And that is something that is very important to keep in mind. So this experience with IYPF inspired me to create a second project. It's called Let's Talk Peace. It's a podcast, a peace building podcast that follows the guidelines of peace journalism. And essentially, it is a platform that amplifies the voices of change makers all over the world. And Caroline, my lovely mentor, helped me out with this as well. And she was actually one of the first people that I interviewed on the podcast, if you guys want to check that out. And the whole idea behind the podcast is that through dialogue, you open a gateway to empathy. And empathy is such an important thing that we need a lot more of in today's day and age, in whatever context you live in. So through the podcast and through my work as a peace builder, I focus and aim at promoting the values of radical empathy and creative problem solving and critical thinking. So far with the podcast, we've done 16 episodes, and each episode features a young leader from a different part of the world, and it features a different social issue or topic. And I've learned so much already, and I've grown so much, and that's all kind of thanks to IYPF. But ultimately, what IYPF has done for me specifically is it's given me that little push. So I'm someone who had a lot of ideas and a lot of energy, and I just really wanted to be doing things, but you don't always really believe in yourself, especially when people that are older than you, they shut down your ideas directly and they don't believe in you. But with IYPF, we were presented with older people that truly believed in our ideas, and it was just so inspiring. And yeah, besides that, I learned that you are never truly alone. There are always people out there who want the same thing that you do, that want change and that want to make the world a better place, truly. Be it my fellow participants, the mentors, and everybody that we learned from. So I'm really grateful for that. And thank you for everyone who is here with us at this graduation ceremony. So much appreciation. And yeah, thank you so much. I'm excited to see where it's all going.
Thank you, Amanda, and again, congratulations. So Amanda's mentor is Caroline Johnston, who is an international business executive with over 15 years of successful managerial, marketing, and sales experience in the biotech, aerospace, and renewable energy sectors in Europe and North America. She completed her coaching certification with a focus on leadership development, women's empowerment, and positive psychology. Caroline has been coaching individuals and groups since 2018, and in 2019, she established Caroline Sarah Ventures LLC, a Washington, D.C. based women-owned company that provides individual and group coaching services. So Caroline, welcome.
Thanks, Kim. And I just want to say it was a delight to work with Amanda. She did a fantastic job. And so I was really thrilled to be her mentor. She really is going to set a great example for other youth. And she's very teachable and hardworking. And so I was amazed at her level of intelligence and how she implemented that in her project. And on the webinar also, she really revealed her talents and she's a natural speaker, very gifted, and so came across very confident. And it actually turned out so well that it was digital in the end, because we were able to make it international. So she's full of energy and positivity, and she did say there that peace building requires effective communication, and she is a natural communicator. So it was, I find it very instrumental, her Pathways to Peace handbook. Coming from Northern Ireland myself, it was very meaningful. So we were able to discuss, and she was very receptive to the information and experiences I shared, and so much so that we did the podcast together, which was great. And so she was able to bring her own personal experiences into that, even from different countries, and she has definitely an in-depth cultural awareness. So I'm really excited to see the journey she's on, and she's definitely going to go far. She's got a real passion for peace building initiatives, and look forward to watching her continued success onto stage 3.
Thank you, Caroline. Really appreciate it. Good to see you.
Me too.
So our next student is Lauren Kayama, who we call Aki. She's from Japan, where, by the way, it's almost midnight there. So thank you for staying up so late. She went to Ritsu Maikon University in Kyoto. Her project is educating about the Sustainable Development Goals. So let me just say, for those who are not as aware, that the SDGs, as we call them, were developed by the UN member nations to end poverty, expand education, and many other global goals. So welcome, Aki.
Hello, everyone. I'm just so glad to see everyone again. And I just want to congratulate my fellow young ambassadors for completing their project. So my project is about, hello?
Yes,
can you hear me?
we can
Okay,
hear you.
So my project is about SDGs, and I called it SDGs 101. And this project aims to educate the youth about more information about SDGs and to encourage them to take part in achieving these global goals, even through their small actions. So in Japan, SDGs is really a big thing. There's so many posters, ads, and even trains are painted in SDGs theme. However, I feel like there's a lack of knowledge about SDGs. That's why I came up with this project. So it was supposed to be a workshop where we gather everyone. However, due to the pandemic, we had to change our plan. And instead, we decided to create an educational video about SDGs and the role of the youth in order to contribute to the success of SDGs. So we uploaded our videos in our Instagram account. And we also asked those students who have already registered for our workshop to watch the video. We tagged them, and we also asked them to post their questions or comments in the video so other of our followers can see it as well. And we also created this thread in Instagram story. I know most of you are familiar with it, where you create a hashtag, and our hashtag is Mirai no Chikue, or in English means for the future world, where we ask our followers to post their photos or videos of their the things that they do in order to contribute in creating a better and peaceful community. And we were just really glad to see their posts and how they tag their friends as well, so that they can share their experiences. And it was really a fun activity that we had with our followers. And SDGs 101, as a result, we were able to help the youth to have further knowledge about SDGs by providing them important information and updating them with SDGs related current events and news. And we were also able to utilize social media like Instagram to attract the attention of several individuals and groups with the same interest with SDGs. And through this project, I learned so much more about SDGs, especially having discussion with my mentor, who won't be able to be here today. He is really a great mentor, Mr. Toshioki, and he helped me so much about creating different approach to this project. And also, I learned so much from the comments and questions that I read from the students in our videos. And in terms of project planning, I learned so much to be more flexible and adaptive as change is inevitable. And I'm just really happy that I was able to complete my project and that I was able to help the youth within my community to be more aware that there are these kinds of peace building activities that they can join and be part of. And that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Aki, so much. And again, congratulations. And I'm very sorry that your mentor is in the hospital now, but I'm glad to know that he's recuperating. So he could not be with us today, sadly. Again, thank you. So our next student is Daryl Moon from the US, who studies at Howard University. His project is in bridge building between Howard University students and students from middle and high schools in the neighboring area, particularly providing mentoring and support. So Daryl, welcome.
Hello, everyone. I'm Darrell Moon. I am a graduating senior international affairs major at Howard University and the president and founder of Support for Support. As a kid, me and my peers were inspired by the tutors that came into my high school called the Community School in Baltimore, Maryland. This helped create a level of understanding between the community of Johns Hopkins and the community surrounding my school. I was able to understand for myself that residents were blocked off from resources located in their own community and consistently reminded of that with the presence and many times the ignorance of said campus community. This is why many of the campus community felt unsafe and unwelcome in the surrounding area. You can see that kind of conflict that happens at many times across the world, where groups are coming in or being influenced by two different socioeconomic classes. The goal of this project, Support for Support, is to create successful relationships between Howard University and the surrounding DC area. This happens from creating a support program where Howard University students motivate and uplift each other as first-generation students, while simultaneously Howard students will provide their network and resources to high school and middle school students of the DMV area. This project promotes peace building, reducing a long-standing social conflict between the two groups by creating a level of understanding between Howard University students and the surrounding area. And we were able to accomplish a lot. We found a solid group of Howard University students in a school. We began to start the process of meeting the students in Cardozo Middle and High School before COVID. And in that process, I learned how to be scrappy and find innovative ways to reach a goal, which sustainable peace building and conflict resolution is all about. During COVID, we had to change the program a lot, inviting all Howard volunteers, no matter if you were first generation or not, who are all still in the area around the DMV, and mainly focus in on tutoring and mentorship services, which Cardozo needed at the time. When the program resumed after we took a break over the summer in August after COVID, we began to find that Cardozo took a major hit. Many students vanished after they switched to online. Some students lost their parents or guardians, were homeless, were too behind to graduate, didn't have regular provided meals anymore, or were just not able to find a quiet place to study or attend class. Cardozo asked us to assist in a way of being tutors and facilitators during their in-school program, where they have some students come in who need the help. And we tutored and facilitated them coming in and gave them meals every day. And it was a big risk to take since it was a major change to the program regarding to IYPF, but we knew that it was the right move to make. And what came out of it is amazing. Howard University students and the staff of Cardozo were able to come together and provide a space for these kids as one community. And this builds layers of understanding between the groups that can be added on to new classes of Howard University students and new generations for DC residents to come. And that is what sustainable peace building looks like. I want to give my thanks to my past and present supporters, my friends and family, my amazing mentor, Mr. Dombuk, and the Howard University, the Bunch Center, who invited me to come on to IYPF, and Cardozo for making this happen. So thank you.
Thank you, Daryl, and again, congratulations. So Daryl's mentor is my friend Chick Damba, who is an adjunct faculty member at Johns Hopkins and American Universities, and he is a Woodrow Wilson Visiting Fellow. He has been president and CEO of the National Peace Corps Association, president of the Alliance for Peace Building, CEO of Operation Respect, and chief of staff for Congressman John Garamendi. Previously, he was an expert advisor to the director of the Peace Corps. He is chair of the Mali Affinity Group, an advisor for the Washington Strategy Group, and on the board of the Institute for Economics and Peace. He lectures widely at universities and conferences, and he was a senior consultant with BoardSource, where he helped write 2 books on nonprofit governance. Welcome, Chick. Is Chick here? Maybe he has to unmute.
Did I unmute now?
Yes, you did. Yes,
All
there
right.
you are. Welcome.
Very good. And I'm getting an echo, so it's a little confusing, but I'll do the best I can. It was, first of all, Kim, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be a mentor for Daryl. This proved to be a fascinating experience for me, and I know was for Daryl as well. First of all, was pleased to have the opportunity to be a speaker at your program back, what, about a year ago, I guess.
Year and a half ago,
And
yes.
Was pleased to be a part of it, and then to be invited to be a mentor was a real honor. I'm an old guy, and the best thing I get to do as an old guy is spend time with young people, and I am so impressed with this whole generation of young people that's coming along, and particularly with Daryl. It's just been a real treat to get to know him and to work with him, to see how he has developed, first of all, just conceiving the program that he's involved with, and to see the way he has adapted. Obviously, like everybody else, his program was based upon personal connections with people. And of course, in the age of COVID, personal connections become incredibly difficult. But he developed I think, an important one to help those outside the Howard community. Howard, kind of a special place for the African American community in DC and throughout the country. And others, certainly in the DC area, may feel left out of that special opportunity. And Daryl wanted to understands that the core of building a peaceful society is building trust and mutual respect among the various people in the various communities. And by building that kind of relationship with people outside the Howard community, with the Howard community, as a way of building domestic peace here in the US and certainly here in the DC area. But he ran into every obstacle imaginable along the way. And every time, instead of throwing in the towel, which he easily could have done, we kind of talked about it and thought through options and different ways to approach it. And he came up with the ideas and adapted and developed a program that ended up being remarkably valuable and useful and effective. So Daryl, congratulations on doing it. And I am so pleased that we are friends and will remain friends. I look forward to following you as you develop your career, and I know it will be stellar. So with that, let me turn the program back to Kim. But again, thank you for the opportunity to be a small part of it.
Well, thank you, Chick. And I think that you speak so beautifully about the benefits of being a mentor. So I just want to say there are many benefits for being a mentor as well as for the mentee. It can be a very rich relationship. So thank you, Chick. I appreciate it immensely. So lastly, and certainly not least, is Tim Porte from Germany, who studies at the Technical University in Berlin. His project is developing an app to estimate one's CO2 footprint. Very innovative. Welcome, Tim.
Hi.
Oops. I think you're muted, Tim. You'll need to unmute.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you all. First, I want to thank my mentor, of course, because he supported me a lot in the project. And yeah, I'm very grateful for that. Second, of course, congratulations to everyone who participated and has come so far. And yeah, my project idea, or my project now, was to develop an app that estimates your CO2 footprint. And the idea behind that was I wanted to approach mainly young people who, of course, use apps nowadays every day, and I wanted to spread awareness that everyone has a CO2 footprint, of course, but does affect the environment, even if it's just a little bit. And that's why I wanted to spread awareness to everyone, because I think everyone knows that climate change is real, or at least the majority knows that climate change is real and threatening, but not so many know that that you as a person can affect it a lot if all of us do their part. And similar to Shannon's project, I wanted to spread awareness about climate change. And I did this, as I said, with an app. And the first step for that was to gather data from companies and the federal agencies and so on, to give real information about what how big the CO2 emission is when you use, for example, the bus, or like a car, or yeah, you know what I mean. And yeah, I collected data at first, and the second step was to implement it, which was very, very hard, because it was my first time in programming, and I had several modules in the university, but it was still my first time. And yeah, but I was successful. I got the layout, and yeah, it all worked out. I hope to implement it even further in the future. And yeah, and I think it's the relation to the IYPF is that, of course, like climate change is real. I talked about it, but I think that climate change is also potential ground for conflict in the future, because not only in South Africa, but everywhere in the world, we will be affected by it. And in the end, that means that conflict is more probably to evolve, or more probably to it's more probably to be. And yeah, what did I accomplish? Yeah, I developed the app, and I am looking forward to set up the app in the App Store, because it's not launched yet. But I'm really looking forward. And yeah, I'm also one of the many lessons I learned in that project is that you, of course, have to approach like companies or politicians, which seem very big at first, and you have to approach them, but it's not bad to approach them, right? They often come to you, or like they want to participate, and I had to do that step for myself, and I'm glad I did this with this project. So yeah, I'm glad I did this.
Well, thank you, Tim, and congratulations again. That was really innovative. And I'm delighted to introduce your mentor, Dr. Klaus Michael Hoppe. Dr. Hoppe served for more than 30 years in the German government. Having a background in European law, the Minister of Economic Affairs seconded him in 1990 to the European Commission's legal service. After a brief excursion to an international law firm, he rejoined the ministry again in 1995. In 2000, he moved to the Federal Finance Ministry, where he held several international positions. In 2015, he became alternate executive director of the World Bank. After his 4-year term, he consulted on G20 issues during the Saudi Arabia G20 presidency. He returned to Germany recently and will be assigned to a new position within the Ministry of Finance. Welcome, Klaus.
Thank you, Kim, and thank you for having me. Hello to everybody. I'm happy to be even virtually with many of my old friends. I'm back now to Germany in quarantine for a couple of days now, and we'll join the ministry for an interim post, and then something is in the cooking that needs some time to go. I was kind of stumbling into that mentorship because I didn't have any experience with mentoring. I didn't have any experience with these tech skills, which one needed. And so I was asking myself in the very outset, what could be my added value here? But then I learned about this wonderful and fantastic project, which was so different from the mainstream I experienced, especially in the World Bank, that is telling other people what they could do good for climate change. And Tim's project was just the other way around. They should ask themselves what they could do for climate change. What can I do? And this is exactly what the app is about, and giving this footprint a real big figure, or a realistic figure. And during the discussion with Tim, it came out that data, the availability of proprietary data is very crucial. And I hope that I could give him some hints how to develop some tools to get the data out of the business company, of the business community. And I'm very much looking forward to see that app. A competitive app has been launched a couple of weeks ago only. And I saw that even Deutsche Bank is providing that kind of tool Tim has developed within their own website. So this is certainly the new thinking, and I hope that Tim is going to be spearheading this this development.
Well, thank you, Klaus. And I just want to say what an awesome breadth of peace building projects. Firstly, thank you to the mentors so much for all that you've done for these students. Congratulations to each of you. I am just so thrilled with your projects. Tony, back to you.
Kim, nicely done. Thank you very much indeed. It's my honor now to introduce my friend, my colleague, a man who's been a mentor to me in terms of my long association also with the National Press Club, Bill McCarron. McCarron is an Irish name, and that's good because it comes from County Donegal, which happens to be the area I come from in Ireland. And Bill and I have done lots of projects together. He chaired the Global Communications Committee at the World Affairs Council for 3 years with me, and was the real visionary when it came to looking at print, broadcast, and new media platforms that could be used to work smart as well as hard to get messaging and information out to people who we wish to influence and get their support for in terms of global education, international affairs, global communications projects. Bill, you know that we're working on the Stage 3 program, and you were kind enough a month ago to lay out a position paper for us in terms of the forward strategy so that we can better connect these 6 young people on a regular basis with their mentors, give them an opportunity to have a 30-minute mid-project, probably April of next year. They will do their own Zoom program along with their mentor and with Kim, Richard, you, myself, and some other trustees, talk about their final report, which will be due on June 15th. Stage 3 of the program, which we are looking forward to having all 6 of the Stage 2 graduates participate in, is a very concentrated 40-hour commitment for these young people. All of them are still working on other projects. They're busy, as you can hear, but it's this voice of youth. It's the voice of this generation that is important to the future of this program. And it's very, very encouraging for all of us who are involved with this to hear the type of substantive, intelligent, incisive, futuristic thought leadership thinking that has been reflected in the 6 projects that we've heard about today. So before I get into some details regarding Stage 3, I'd like to introduce Bill. All of you have met him. The National Press Club has a very significant part in the history of the International Youth Peace Forum. They were kind enough to host our inaugural conference here in Washington between August 12th and August 16th. And Bill is someone who's got immense networks that can assist us as we go forward with this project. He will chair a global communications committee that will be formed as part of the board of the International Youth Peace Forum under Richard's chairmanship in 2001. And we hope very much indeed, Bill, that you would give us some perspectives on what you think about how particularly digital platforms can accelerate the communications priorities that we've identified that we want to see in the foundational aspect of this program. So over to my friend, Bill McCarron, the Chief Executive of the National Press Club, the world's leading professional organization for journalists where news happens. Bill?
Thank you. Thank you, Tony. And grateful for your help and, in working together, and also what you've done, this whole group has done, to forward this project. So congratulations to the 6 ambassadors, and what wonderful projects you all have developed. I'm proud of you I'm grateful for your work. Look, peace building takes a long time, as Tony knows, as many of us know. And we've been working on it. When I say we, this generation, but we're not going to develop peace. That is something you all are going to do. It takes a long time. So when I participated in a webinar with that Amanda put on, there were many experts talking about peace in Northern Ireland, and which once again is a huge challenge. And it was great. And there was a depth of knowledge. There was wonderful content, a discussion of paradigms and strategies and language and approaches. And Tony and Richard asked me what I thought about what was said. And I did offer some things about what was said, but I was most interested in what was not said. So the two things I focused on were social media, which some of us have discussed today, and big data. And so my thoughts were then that if the idea is that peace will come as a result of the work of these ambassadors and their generation, that more needs to be done first to make sure that whatever the value is in the discussion in that webinar, gets forward to the current generation that will lead us through the platforms that they pay attention to and that are valuable to them, that speak to them. And so if we're not asking at each stage of implementation, how do we take this forward further with social, we're not asking the right questions, because even if that's not part of our day, I mean, I'm on Twitter all the time, but I'm not on all the other platforms. If it's not part of our day, it is so much a part of what the ambassadors' day and life is. And, the same is true of big data. I'm going to tell one really quick anecdote. At the Press Club, we do 2,000 events a year. We have a young members committee, and those are people that are your age, the ambassadors' age. And I asked them at the beginning of one of these years, what project do you most want to do this year? And they said, we want to do the spelling bee. Well, the spelling bee is something that we've done since 1916. It's when journalists have a spelling bee against members of Congress. And I said, no, don't tell me what you think I want. Tell me what you want to do. And they said, no, the spelling bee. So I said, really, why? And they held up their phone and they said, it blows up on Twitter. So while the project was interesting to them, the content was interesting to them, what was really interesting to them was what they saw it doing in their own world. And I love that. And that's the sort of thing that we really need to be thinking about. It's not just, can we get the language right and can experts talk about this, but how is that information going to really resonate and penetrate into the community? And so, I mean, I think that's something you all understand, but I think it's now going to be more a part of the future of this project as we work, as Tony said, in phase 3. And I just want to shout out to Tim, who had that fantastic project about the app. And I wrote down one of the things that Tim said, and that was, the first thing I do is I take the data. Okay, so we think there are solutions to the problems of peace building in data, in the enormous and unharnessed, computing power in the data that we have through businesses. And so it's interesting how Tim was unlocking that. And I do think that the ambassadors in general will unlock problems and find solutions that we don't know exist through the application of these big data models. So I think I can leave it there. I'm terribly excited about what can be done. I am absolutely certain it is you who will do it. And to the extent we can help empower you and help steer the program more toward the frameworks and the systems that you already use and are experts in, we're going to try to do that as well. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Bill. And I also want to give a shout out to the National Press Club. We're sitting here in the broadcast center of the club, thanks to Bill, the big screen and all the digital support that we need to get this message out. And I'm very proud that we have as a founding strategic partner in the National Press Club to this mission that we're all on. And now let me talk about stage 3. One of the things that we are very cognizant of is that some of you are finishing up your degrees, some of you are beginning new careers, but this is a 3-part program that when we polled the mentors and asked them how did they feel about stage 3, and they've received the same overview as the 6 graduates have. All of the mentors, and it was very humbling to Kim and I to have the sort of response that we got from mentors, because all of them have committed to work with you again through January 15th through June 15th on stage 3. There's 3 steps in our program. Number 1 is acquire the knowledge. Knowledge is not power. The use of knowledge is power. So it's only potential power. It becomes power, as everyone has said here today as a common theme, when it's put into action to produce the desired results. So for me, the ability to set and accomplish high goals, the ability to understand that it's good to understand that there's no true synonym between the word listen in the English language or other languages. To listen doesn't mean to hear. So as we recognize, relate, assimilate, and then act on communication and information that we're engulfed with every day now, how do you parse those things out that are important? How do you become a thought leader, a futurist, with regard to a big idea? And this is a big idea. It's in an embryonic and fragile stage still. So it's important that when we have an independent evaluation of what we thought 21 months ago would work with this program, we're learning that we want to hear from the young ambassadors. We want to hear from those who also started out and didn't finish their stage 2. We want to know the feedback, and the way in which we can do that is on digital platforms. So as we embark on stage 3, like for Tim, we want to be part of his advancing his research and putting it into action to see the type of results that we can help him produce on a highly innovative project. The other projects that each of you are working on all need to be nurtured. They all need to be reinforced by peers that you make contact with, persons you make contact with, organizations that you make contact with in your own universities, your own communities, your own networks, domestic or global. And so there's no strangers in our world, unless you don't want to be friendly with someone else, unless you don't want to listen to someone else. And our tagline on this program, which is behind me underneath the symbol for the International Youth Peace Forum, is mutual respect for individual differences. That's been reflected deeply today in the dialogue that you shared with us. And it's exactly who we are and what we're about. There's only one first. And there's the first 6 graduates of stage 1 and stage 2, whom we've heard from today. And then we have the 6 exemplars in terms of mentors that who've volunteered and given their time, and most of all, their knowledge and their empathy and caring to listen and to hear the young people who have earned the title of being young ambassadors for peace. There's only one first. You're it. And we're here to help you. I hope you've got a glimpse of that today, that we've broadened our vision in terms of how we can help you. And so I am looking forward to our working with you between January 15th and June 15th, so that we will have another Zoom graduation in early July. We'll send out a global release. You'll be joining as founding members, you and your mentors, our International Youth Peace Forum, Young Ambassadors for Peace, Alumni Association. So the pieces are falling into place in our forward strategy in terms of our vision for the future of this organization, which will be independently evaluated, tweaked and changed with your input, number one, with your mentors' input. And we just want to build these wonderful partnerships between, as Bill so eloquently said, the people who are going to do the peacemaking in our lifetime is the generation of youth that are reflected here in this program. I'm exceptionally proud of you. You've all received a brief and an overview of what this Stage 3 is all about. It's really just rounding a global education circle. And that circle will teach you how not just to lead and develop your own program, but to share with your peers how they can multiply the message and be part of the continuation of these projects that you have developed on a very solid foundation. That was one of the things that came across as Kim and Richard and Bill and I read your final reports. You've put the spade work in. You can either build a one-story house, or you can build a four-story building, or you can build a skyscraper. But you won't build any of them unless the foundation is sound. And so the foundational aspect of what each of you have started in terms of earning your Stage 2 Young Ambassadors for Peace certificate is what guarantees the future growth and expansion of your program. These programs you've started are innovative. They're futuristic. They reflect thought leadership. So I want very much indeed to join the Richard and Bill and Kim and all the others, the mentors who are lauding you for what you've accomplished. Now let's get it finished off. Let's do Stage 3 together. And I'd like to open it up for comments from, to start with, the young people on what they've heard today. And then the mentors, if they've got anything they want to ask or anything they want to make additional comments on. And then, of course, Richard and Bill and Kim, I would like to hear from you too in terms of wrapping up this program on schedule. Based on Kim's watch, I think that we've got 5.5 minutes, I'm sorry, 5 minutes and 25 seconds to go to 10:30. So off we go. Anybody who's got any comments, please make them now. Five minutes and 30 seconds.
Well, I'll just say, Tony, I wanted to hear from others, but I'll just say how excited I am to see where these projects can go, to see how many more young people can be brought in and trained and encouraged to participate, because that's what this is about, multiplying this, engaging more young people and expanding what's already been so successful. So I'm very, very hopeful, and I'm very excited to see where each of you takes your project.
Rick Dunham, I see you up on the screen. How about a little comment from someone who worked hard with a young woman who was one of our Stage 1 graduates, and unfortunately, due to circumstances beyond her control, was unable to complete her project. What do you feel about what you've heard today, Rick? Can you put him on, please? Unmute him. Rick Dunham.
That's right. I teach by Zoom. I should know to unmute myself. I realized today, listening to the just superb projects that the 6 students did, how hard it is to get to this point. And I mean, I worked hard with my my student who faced so many challenges. I mean, she was in Beijing and she couldn't get back because of the original outbreak before this was a pandemic. And it just became impossible to do by remote control what she was hoping to do. You just needed to be on the ground. But I mean, what I have learned is just how important it is to stick with your vision. And everyone who did this overcame obstacles. And it's technological, it's logistical. It would have been better if we could have all gotten together and exchanged in-person advice, but I'm just so impressed. And I see you, all of you, as the next generation of leaders. And I see in my own program that I run, Global Business Journalism, young people who are overcoming challenges and who are looking for innovation in the journalism world, just as you are doing for world peace. And the people who are succeeding in these trying times are going to be the leaders, and you're going to be tested in a trial by fire this year and even next year. So congratulations. I hope I can be a useful part. And I want to also say a thanks to Bill McCarran, who's been a partner of mine for more than 15 years with various National Press Club events, and Tony the same way, who helped to shape and create the modern National Press Club Journalism Institute. So thank you, Kim, thank you, Tony, thank you, Bill, and especially to the students who've done so much.
Carl Weichel, over to you. Come on. You've got an equal opportunity partnership at home, so speak up.
Sure. Well, I did send a group text to say that Kim and I involvement with our lifelong learning communities. We have over 1,000 people that we interact with, maybe 9 months in the calendar year of learning, and we're been displaced for 9 months digitally, but we'll be meeting back to face, hopefully in the DC area from late May onwards. But we've been teaching Zoom online. It is so amazing how this technology of Zoom was lately waiting for the world to be tapped upon. And the way I'm watching this come together, I mean, with all of the dismal events of this year, I think we all can be grateful on positive things, how this has been held together with this technology. And what Bill McCarran said regarding that challenging game of spell check. I mean, I identified with him because that's one of the few realms that some of we senior learners can hang on to, that we can't be outsmarted by the rest of the tech generation. But in that is a great kernel of an idea of, I'm not saying Friday nights we get together with cell phones across the world and play games like that, but there is something in that bridging of our knowledge and confidence gap that we have that we don't have in their technology, and yet with younger person's skill set of technology who want that wisdom. There's maybe more informal ways that we can get together without grand events like this, but keep the small little networks. And just as we have in these Zoom formats, learned of being placed together in chat rooms. That's how somebody assigns us. There's no reason why in an event like this, if we met informally, that we couldn't be assigned and get to know each one of you individually rather than that. So it's been a great event today, and I hope this is part of many more. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. Richard Kamenitzer, the final minute, and we're counting down. Kim's watching the clock, and it's ready. Come on. Give us a minute, Richard, please, on your observation of today's program, just as concluding remarks, okay? Unmute him.
You're muted.
Yes, I'm sorry. The presentations made by each one of our graduates as well as their mentors was really significant enough to tell us that the next phase is going to open much promise. And I would hope that we can incorporate in the next phase the ways in which we will be able to recruit and attract both the mentors as well as future candidates. We need to be able to enhance this as well as to develop an alumni of a sort with the various groups of people who have come to us, including those that might not have been able to complete the program, either bring them back or engage them in another way. But I am really encouraged. There's much promise. There's a lot of work to be done, but there's a lot of energy at the table here. Thank you, Tony.
Okay, thank you. Well, everybody, that's it. Kim's already shutting down our connections. So thank you all very much indeed. It's been what we all hoped it would be, and that is a learning experience for the older persons who've been involved in working hard on this. And I hope for the younger people who are our ambassadors for peace. And I want a special shout out, thank you for the mentors and everyone who has helped us, supported us through the first 2-year phase of this program. Thank you so much. We'll be back in touch in the new year. Thank you.
Thank you.